Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching. My name's Ross and this here is
AJ Teal, Teal Automotive.
I'm so excited to talk with him today, and what we're going to be talking about is just how he got into automotive industry and sort of get to know him a lot better. So with that being said, AJ, thank you for talking with me. I appreciate you. So tell me, what got you into automotive work?
Well, I lived in Worth County, and I graduated and was going to come down here to go to the trade school. My dad was already he was living here he was working here and living here for the past probably 15 years. And then once I got here, I needed a way to make some money, and I was going to take up welding, but my cousin's husband had an automotive repair shop, so I ended up working with him. And instead of taking welding, I took automotive at the trade school, and kind of went from there. I took a little electronics course, and then once I graduated from that, I just kind of followed that career I went into.
It's funny you say that, because a lot of people that I've met that work with automotive and work with cars and vehicles in general, a lot of them sort of just say, yeah, I just started doing it one day and then just kept doing it, and that's what happened,
Yeah. I mean, I did always have to work on my older vehicles, so
yeah.
I had a good idea how things worked before I started doing it. But like I said, I kind of wanted to be a welder. Took drafting and all that in high school. We were lucky enough to have a drafting program, metal tech, and I took that as my vocational prep. But then it didn't turn out like that. But I do use welding a lot around here, so it's good to know how to do that. If you have to fix a piece of exhaust or make a bracket or something, something like that.
Yeah, that's one thing about people that work in the automotive industry. They about know a little bit about everything, pretty much. Yeah. So, you said working on older vehicles. Now, one thing I always like to talk with people who do work on vehicles for a living is, what was the first thing they drove?
Okay.
The vehicle.
The first one I had was a 1986 Camaro. Okay, I got it. It was red on the front clip, but most of the body was white. The guy I got it from, he had wrecked it, and we had to rebuild it, and I got it for $800. So I had to work on it a little bit. And like I say, that kind of got me learning how to do brake jobs and tune-ups and things like that when I was probably I think I got it when I was 15, so it was before I was ever actually legally able to drive. But we did get it fixed up so I could drive to school when I turned 16.
Yeah. Now that right there, that's a heck of a vehicle to sit there and say that's your first one, because a lot of people sit there and go like, oh, I was driving a Ford Pinto, but they come out there and say 1986 Camaro. It's like, oh, okay, big time over here.
No, it was two different colors. It wasn't as big timer as it sounds.
Yeah.
But it was a good car, though.
Yeah.
Chevrolet 305 motor, so it's pretty well tough.
Yeah. I mean, probably tougher than some of the stuff they make nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It wasn't all plastic, that's for sure.
So, with you working in this industry, I feel like there's always these great stories, no matter really what you work in. So, what do you think is like your best work story that you can think of?
I've got a lot of them, but probably one of the most recent and the one that I can think of the most is, we were here the other day, and it was about lunchtime, and everybody was getting ready. James sits in the break room, the guy that works with me, and eats lunch every day, so I pretty well sit in there with him or do some work, walking back and forth. And he was getting ready to come off a lunch break, and Snap-on man pulled up in his personal truck with the trailer behind it, and let the gate down on the trailer and started unloading the toolbox. And I was kind of wondering, and I asked him, I said, do I have some help coming that I didn't know about? And he was like, well, something like that. And then when he got the toolbox off, he said that was from my biggest fan. So I've got to say that's probably one of the best stories that's happened to me since I've been at this shop. We also, I've been able to find 2 cats on vehicles I was working on. So that's kind of interesting too. Miss Margie Hobgood, we was going to do an oil change on her car. I popped the hood, and there was a little yellow cat sitting on the battery. She had driven from right over here on Young's Mill, and the cat was just shaking, so we got it out, and now we've got the cat up there at the house. It's my kid's cat. So. And the other one we found was on the top of a fuel tank on a diesel truck that comes in, and it's the shop cat. We still got it. We named it Loctite. It runs around here mousing for us. So.
There you go. Got to take care of it somehow,
That's
especially
right.
being out here, right?
Yes, sir. Around all these fields
Yeah.
and wood, there's plenty of.
I know at the
money.
church. No, at the church we have to stay on top of it. So.
Yeah, pest control is pretty good business around here.
No, yeah. So, obviously, not every time something great, like a good story like that's going to happen. Sometimes there's some hard times, and you have to do some hard things. So, what would you say is the hardest thing that you have to do working on vehicles?
Probably doing the estimates and having to call people and tell them what they're facing, how big an estimate, or if their car is really not worth repairing, or you know, it's hard for me to make that decision for them, but then I have to give them the numbers that it would take to repair, and that's probably one of the hardest parts of the job. I know it's probably one of the most stressful ones for sure, trying to call around, get parts in a timely manner, and you know, just do things like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's always unpleasant to tell people, hey, this thing that you may have been able to drive your vehicle here, but that's probably about as far as you would have been able to take it if you wouldn't have brought it here as soon as you could, and then having to tell them all the things that are wrong with it, and because vehicles, I mean, that's how people get from home to work, and
Yeah, that's your livelihood. If you
Yeah.
don't have some way to get around, walking's a thing of the past.
Right.
You might do that to exercise, but you could walk to town because you didn't live that far away from town, but now you got people that live, 10, 15 miles out easy, and you got to have a piece of some kind of equipment to get you back and forth, whether it be a scooter or what it is.
right. Yeah, and it's not like everybody. It's not like we do the horse and wagon thing anymore.
No.
Just because I would hate to do the cleanup, but yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too good of a farrier or whatever they call them.
Yeah. I always think whenever I'm working on someone's car or changing oil, I always think, well, it's a lot better than scooping up manure.
Yeah, sweeping out the horse stalls, changing a wooden wheel on a carriage or something. That would be pretty tough.
Yeah. Shoot. So, you are someone who loves the Lord,
Yes.
and part of running a business is you have to do that in a way that you, at the end of the day, you can go home and feel like, I've represented Christ properly at work.
Yes.
So, how does Christ really intermingle with what you do here?
He plays a factor in everything we do, keeping us safe when we're doing it. We got multiple 1,000-pound pieces of equipment above us at all times pretty well through the day. Keeping us safe, letting us do the proper job in the right way and not have it come back. And if you change a motor and you move, say 60 bolts, it's a very good chance you could leave a few loose. Being there with you and letting you double check, and I believe he plays a whole lot in our business, and I know he does in my life and me getting started in my business. I really didn't have a church I called home. My kids and wife was going to Life Point, and they started when it was called Heritage still. And my oldest kid, he asked me one day, "Why don't you go to church with us, Dad?" So I started going, and then it seems like everything started falling in place for me. I was actually working down here at Ron Parrish's shop, Highway 30, I'd worked there for 17, 18 years, and he was going through some stuff, and I was coming off that dirt road that I rode every day going back and forth, and seen an auction sign for a house, and I just thought it might be closer to work, so I took a right instead of a left one day, and ended up being the shop and the house and kind of what I had set up in my dreams, always having a shop there by my house, and that's what I wanted, and couldn't really afford to build it, and the Lord blessed me with being able to buy this shop and that house for what you could build a house for.
Yeah.
And I think I owe him a lot to keep it going, and if somebody asks me how I'm doing, I let them know. He blessed me, and I'm blessed today.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing a lot of people don't understand, is that as soon as you start making that move toward Christ, as soon as you start changing your life and really putting God as the focus, things start, even if it's not like your case where it's God gave you this shop and all this stuff. Just mentally and the way you walk through life, everything starts falling into place.
Yes, sir. You still have those days and things that come up and you wonder about and worry about, but you just say a prayer and keep on plugging.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Just turn to God.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate you talking with me.
No problem.
And just for everybody watching, if you have any automotive needs, please come out here and see AJ. He's very knowledgeable. He'll take care of you.
We'll try our best to.
So this is AJ Teal with Teal Automotives. I'm Ross Green with Life Point Church. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day.